excited. I am so excited.
And we finna peel back them layers. You know.
Oh, you ready?
Man, I stay ready. I understand my assignment.
You better say that, then. You better say that.
I understand my assignment.
Everything
I went through was for this reason right here.
All right.
You know, when the doorway is open to be able to, to share this journey.
Well, I'm excited to be a part of it. So, is it 7 o'clock yet? What time is it? Okay, well, it's 6:58, but we got some things that we need to address before. So, you guys know what it is. It's 7 o'clock. It's Let's Talk About It with Erica and Steph. My girl Erica is not here. Oh, hey Erica. Let's see. Where we at? I see her. So she on there. So we want to wish my girl Erica, she had her surgery today. And I know she's doing all good. So we want to wish her a speedy recovery. Wish she was here. But she's with us in spirit. So we're going to talk. What did she say? Amen?
Amen.
That's what she said. Okay, we're going to talk about it. Amen. So it's 7 o'clock, y'all. Y'all know what it is. It's time to Let's Talk About It with Erica and Steph. Like I said, Erica is not with us tonight. She's here. She's on the live. But my girl, she's resting. But tonight we have a special guest. This is somebody I am so excited to talk to, Mr. Marcus. But first, I'm gonna tell you what we sipping on. So, we're gonna do this according and how we do it. So, my guy don't drink here, but a little birdie told me he likes strawberry lemonade.
In the book.
So yeah, hey E. So we got him some Simply Strawberry Lemonade. So this is what we're gonna be sipping on tonight. So you guys grab your drinks, your cocktails. Ladies, I just want to say this: if you have a son, a brother, an uncle, a grandson, this is a talk you're not gonna want to miss. Okay, we finna get down to the nitty gritty. So Marcus, introduce yourself.
Before I get into it, or get to it, shout out to Erica. As you see, I'm rocking Team Atwood skateboarding, and I just want to give a special shout out to Erica that in 2021, when I decided to take a leap of faith, it's funny how God works, because Erica had approached me. She had approached me, and what she approached me with was right on pathway to what I was thinking about, and I knew it was a God shot, and I knew that was God telling me, take that leap of faith. And so I want to give a special shout out to Erica for helping me when I took that leap of faith to get my son branded to, this is the actual sponsorship edition, which we got various different businesses from the Sacramento area, the Vallejo area that got in and supported my son. Shout out to Sap Jit. Shout out to Stephanie Ray, and my big bro Ray. You know what I'm saying? Because they sponsored my son too. You feel me? And it's a beautiful thing when people get in behind you and they see your vision and they push with you. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to Erica. Speedy recovery and prayers to you.
Yeah, so with that being said, we're going to start it off. We're going to do our toast, and we're going to jump right in.
Cheers.
Okay, all right, I'm not mad at it. Okay, so this conversation I wanted to have with you, right? I had questions, we had questions written down, and I rehearsed everything I wanted to say to you, right? However, you so raw. You know what I'm saying? I felt like questions, just wasn't going to do it. So we just going to dive in. I see you have this book here, Cry Like a Man, right?
Yeah.
And I always say, with you, as long as I've known you, as much as I've talked to you and I've heard you speak, you have always been so transparent about your journey. You don't let your journey deter you. It doesn't divide. You just really, you talk about how you got it from the ground. You know what I'm saying? So let's talk about it. I know like we said, you don't drink, right? But you go out, you go out.
Mr. Pop Out.
That he will pop out. And it's like, how do you have that self-control? How did that start?
Well, actually, it's not even self-control, because a lot of people say that, be like, man, you got strong will, to be around alcohol like this. And a lot of people who know how I used to drink, I drink a bar down, no BS, and I tell them, it's not willpower, because if it was willpower, when I went to the hospital about a month before God said enough is enough, right? My son has had enough. And about a month before that time came, I went to the hospital. I went to the ER, and I got diagnosed. The doctor told me, well, first he said, young man, he said, how much do you drink? I said, no, the question is how much I don't drink, right? And he said, well, look, I know you can't go cold turkey, but you're going to have to slow down an awful lot, or you getting ready to take a slow ride in a black car, right? Me didn't want to hear the truth, I hit back with sarcasm. So I was like, black car? I was like, I came here in a green car, right? Because I don't want to receive the truth of what's being told to me, so I'm trying to deflect it. Mm-hmm. So I use sarcasm to deflect it off of the truth of what's really being told to me. And so then after that, he said, look, you got 2 pair of clothes on. You are weighing 160 pounds. You are 6'4". He said, you are severely malnutrition. You have spots on your pancreas, and you are beginning stages of cirrhosis of the liver. 42 years old. Ouch, right? I get on the phone, I call my mom. I tell my mom what's going on. My mom is literally crying on the phone, like, son, please, stop. I'm watching my son literally commit suicide, right? Because that's what you're doing. You're dying a slow death, a painful slow death. And I was like, man, I can't stop. You know what I'm saying? And so after all of that, within 30 minutes later, by the time I left out that examination room and walked back through the hospital, Kaiser North, and went to the parking lot to where that green car was parked at. When I got in that green car, I reached down and I picked up that peach Amsterdam vodka bottle and had another drink. So it's not about willpower. It's about a power that's greater than myself. It's a spiritual power that I done tapped in through the 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous. And
so let me ask you this, Marcus. So how long do you think you have been drinking before then? Because I know it goes deeper than just drinking, because I know your story is way more than just this. This is just the first step to your change, right? Your recovery. What do you say when a doctor tells you something like that, right? And I've seen it. I've seen. I know someone who's the doctor's like, hey, you gotta chill, but for you to even be like, oh no, I'm not. I'm gonna go and take another drink. What really turned it? You know what I'm saying? What turned it?
Far as what turned it to stop?
Yeah, when did you wake up after that drink and say, hey, I got this something gotta give?
No, I kept going full throttle. What stopped it was June 10th, 2015. That day that I got arrested. Because God knew the type of alcoholic that I am, I gotta be shut up somewhere. I gotta be locked up.
You just said, you hit that. You said the type of alcoholic I am, not that I am. Most people, when they stop drinking, they think, oh, I'm not. No. You still.
I'm not cured because I got the disease of alcoholism, not alcoholism. See, alcoholism is not the fluid that's in the bottle. That's not alcoholism. Alcoholism centers in my brain, right? So I got the same brain that I was born with. You know what I mean? That's why this has been now legally diagnosed a disease. I got the same brain that I was born with. I'm not going to get a different brain. Like you can get a different liver, kidney, or whatnot. They ain't handing out new brains. You know what I'm saying? So this is a brain that I'm stuck with, and the disease is inside the brain. So actually, I don't got a drinking problem. I got a thinking problem.
Okay.
My thought process, I don't respond to sound reason. Now, sound reason would be, okay, the doctor just told me I'm killing myself. I'm literally killing myself, right? So the fear was right there, right? But right along with fear is running that insane thought, right? That insane thought of that next drink. And so I don't got nothing in play to replace that drink, right? So I'm a creature of habit. So what am I going to do? I'm going to do what I know to do, right? Even knowing that this is killing me, right? But I'm powerless. It has taken the power of choice, right? Okay. I drink without my permission. Once I take one drink, like I'm nine and a half years sober, right?
And that's deep. And you still go out, you're still able to maintain that. That's what I always look at when I see you. I'm just like, this dude is strong.
Because I'm spiritually fit. See, the 12-step process has allowed me to be comfortable in my own skin. So now I don't have to transform or change to fit whatever environment I'm in. I can just be me. I'm okay with Marcus. Marcus is enough, right? So no matter what group of people, what room that I'm in, I'm okay. If you like me, cool. If you don't like me, cool. But the thing about it is, whether or not I like me, because if I don't like me, I'll drink over me.
Okay. So I know, like, me and you, we've had some talks, man, and I always be like, you are a great mentor to young men. That's why I always tell women, I was telling women tonight, look, ladies, if you got sons, grandsons, this brother has gone through so much. You have your story, like, we could be here all night. You know what I'm saying? We could be here all night. Like, even just me and you today, we had a short conversation that wound up being like a 30-minute conversation. Like, bro, like, let's talk about it.
Because there's levels to this. It's levels to it. It's like an onion, and you peeling the layers back. So it's an ongoing process of uncover, discover, to recover. Uncover, discover, recover, right? Okay. Because as you walk this life, as you walk this journey, more shall be revealed. Right. So as you got to figure, I'm healing from birth to 42 years old. Mm-hmm. That's big as the Grand Canyon, right? But I'm only 9.5 years in.
So you're 9.5 clarity. You have clarity for 9.5 years.
Yeah. So you got to figure how much ground I'm covering, because not only am I healing from past traumas, emotional incarceration, right?
We talked about that.
Yeah.
We talked about that today.
So not only am I recovering from this back here, but I'm recovering in the present with what life is putting at me in the present. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's a non-stop. It's work, day in, day out, day in, day out.
So I know we talked, when we were talking about the recovery, and we talked about childhood traumas, we've talked about, just everything. So I know we only have an hour, and it's just, there's so many layers to peel back. But you said something to me in one of our conversations that really, really spoke to me as a man, because I always commend you about your transparency, your emotional shit. You know what I'm saying? You talk. You know what I'm saying? Most men don't speak on it. They don't speak their truth the way you do, and you have so much conviction when you speak your truth. But you had said to me one time, you said, my emotional traumas from childhood, the things that I went through my childhood, went into my relationships with women, and it made me sabotage those relationships. And Absolutely. That was the first time I heard a man say something like that. And as men, especially as black men, y'all don't get the love y'all need. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We don't. And as the black culture, we're always raised, especially men, you don't cry. You don't show emotions. You don't have feelings. You don't do this. You're soft if you do that. You don't. With you, I notice
false belief systems.
Yes, you don't believe in that.
No.
You talk about it. You talk your shit when you're emotional. I've seen you on live. You talk, hey, I'm going through it. I'm not having a great day. When you're happy, you're like, hey, I'm going through it. I'm having a great day. I'm doing it. So let's kind of tap in, because I want young men to know you.
I'm like this, right? Like I listen to a lot of people share, like the way my Instagram is set up, like it has nonstop speakers that come up in my news feed because I put my algorithm like that. So it's always positive stuff coming up in my Instagram, right? But my whole thing is this, right? Like I hear a lot of speakers and I listen to them, but my whole thing is the transparency part. Like when you're going through it, when life's showing up, how are you walking through this? How are you getting through this? You feel me? And that's what my Instagram is about. Like it's easy to show the wins. It's easy to show when you up. You feel me? But when life is kicking your butt, when life is serving you, you feel me? That's what make your journey authentic. That's what make your journey raw and uncut. Because people see, okay, you human. You real. You know what I'm saying? Because you ain't scared to what? To show your emotions. Men and women are created and designed with emotions. You feel me? So you go from a stage of emotional incarceration to emotional intelligence. Feel me? That's when you walking through that process, because you coming out of incarceration into a space of freedom. And that's where you in emotional intelligence. And that's why I don't really get too caught up with a lot of the speakers and stuff, because I don't see what you walking through.
So that's another thing. I was going to say that. Okay, so Instagram with influencers and things like that, right? Of course you're going to see their wins. Everybody's a millionaire. Everybody's this. Everybody's doing this. Everybody's shining. Everybody's that. That is such a false narrative, because I know Insta famous people, and online they look amazing. They look amazing, but then deep down, like, ooh, if they only knew
internally they toe up.
But you got these people that are mentors, influencers, that's teaching people how to navigate through, but are they really navigating through? That's my question.
So it's like this. Here, take my advice, because I'm not using it. They say when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. Life is the classroom. People are our teachers. You know, and it's deep like that. Whether it be, a lot of times we think something is negative. It's really not a negative. It's just our perspective on the situation and circumstance. Because even in a bad situation, if I learn, is it really bad?
You got to go through it. You got to go through it, grow through it. That's what I always say. I'm growing through something, not I'm going through something. Because that is easy for people to get down on themselves and say, okay, so I'm going through this. No, I'm growing through it, because it's not going to break me. You know what I'm saying? It's definitely not going to break me. And we've all been through something.
God brought me to it. He'll get me through it.
That part.
Whether I'm scratching, kicking, clawing, you know what I'm saying? Long as I'm willing to stay the course, he gonna get me through it. I mean, even like the situation right now, you know, dealing with me and my son. Right. I done been up in Reno on my live record video, crying, in tears, in a hotel room. I was in a hotel room, curtains closed. It was dark in there, and I was feeling like I was in that Motel 6 on Watt when I was homeless. You know what I'm saying? And I could just feel the weight of it. And you know, when you going through it, that phone can be so heavy, you know, because the ego and the pride is at work, and you don't want to let nobody, you don't
want nobody to see it.
Because you fear of judgment or what people going to think of you or whatnot. But, you know, you got to swallow your pride and be like, hey, I need help. You know what I'm saying? And that was one of my biggest hurdles when I was a kid, when I was in school and stuff, was I was fearful to say help, right? Because...
Do you think that's because of your upbringing? Do you think that's because the household?
It goes back to that emotional incarceration. Emotional incarceration is the root. And from that root comes the branches. Mm-hmm. And from the branches comes the fruit, right? And so I had to grow a new root. Mm. And the new root that I grew it in God. And God replanted me. God replanted me in front of the same people that I broke myself in front of. And they watched a person that they saw totally destroy himself, totally build himself back up. You know?
But you know, they say you got to tear it down and rebuild it. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you got to be towed down to rebuild yourself up. And a lot of people don't get that because they think, oh, this is how it's got to be for me to be successful, for me to do this, for me to do that. It's got to look a certain way. Everybody's journey is different. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's journey is different. Nobody's going to have the same journey. You know, you can take two hairstylists, start at the same time, but the journeys are going to be different how they grow. Any relationship, different how it grows. Exactly. And I just watch you, like I said, I watch you maneuver through relationships. I've watched you deal with people. I've just watched your interaction around people, and you've always been the same. You've never wavered. You never changed in front of anybody. You've always been you. You've always spoken the way you speak. You've been about your family, and it's good to see it, you know?
The best thing I ever did was when I found my voice.
Mm. So when did you find your voice? How did you find your voice?
I found my voice in prison.
Okay. So you want to talk about that?
It's a trip, right? Because I went through emotional incarceration in my childhood, right? Mm-hmm. So in my childhood, as I'm going through this emotional incarceration, I'm now developing learned behavior. Mm-hmm. And the learned behavior is how to cope inside this prison. Mm-hmm. So in Alcoholics Anonymous, right, emotional incarceration is the same as the bondage itself, right? So I'm trapped within myself. I'm trapped emotionally and mentally inside of here, right? And I'm like a ping pong ball, just bouncing off within me, right? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And so now, as I'm in this emotional incarceration, I'm like developing learned behavior, how to cope. So now, when I become an adult, the learned behavior inside this emotional incarceration, it now becomes my survival skills, right?
Fight or flight.
Yeah, now it becomes my survival skills, but my survival skill is this. The mentality that I developed is, I'm going to get you before you get me.
And how many men do you feel go through that? How many men have you met that do that? You know, and that's the mentality. Get you before you get me.
Come on.
And that's in our community.
Yeah.
Period. Not just men.
Because it started from abandonment by my father. It then came with, emotional abuse. And let me say this. Let me say this too, right? My family, my parents, you know what I'm saying? They did the best that they could with the skill set that they had. So if ever I mention my dad or my mom or whatnot, it is never to drag them through the mud, but it's my truth. It's my truth. And my mama always tell me, son, tell your truth. Speak your truth. You feel me? So let's understand that it's never to drag them through the mud. It's just, this is my story. You know what I'm saying? And this is my illustration of it. You feel me? And I'm grateful. I'm grateful to the mother that I had, because if it wasn't for my mama, I wouldn't even graduated from high school. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So she did the best that she knew how. My stepfather that raised me, he did the best that he knew how, because he was working on with what he seen by his stepfather. So he continued what he knew, right? And if you don't realize anything, then how can you change anything?
Right.
You can't, right? And so he repeated what he knew how to do. Me, luckily, that when I came to that turning point, when I stood at that turning point in my life, when I went back to prison, I knew that this was my last shot. This was my last shot, because I had a spiritual experience while sitting in the Flame Club. Yeah. The Flame. Right? I had a moment of clarity, right? And it was like this. I'm sitting at the bar with two friends, right? Rest in peace, Brown Eyes. She passed away. Truly an angel. She was sitting on one side of me, and my folks from the Sandbox, Tay to Tay, she was sitting on me. Rest in peace, Matt Dre. That was his auntie. That's his auntie. And so they were sitting on the side of me, right? And I started getting emotional. And I was looking around, and I was like, man, I don't want this no more, right? And my folks, Tay was like, what's up? What's going on? I said, man, I don't want this no more. Like, I'm tired of this. I'm tired of living like this, right? I'm in bars 7 days a week, you know what I'm saying? Frivolous sexcapades. I ain't got nothing to show my kids. You know, I ain't got a pot to piss in, window to throw it out of. Just all that guilt and shame hit me.
Just hit you all at once.
You know what I'm saying, right? And so then my folks, Tay was like, she begged, oh, folks, come on. Here, have another shot. You be all right, right? I'm like, nah, man, I don't want that. I don't want that, right? And then it hit me. It hit me in a still small voice. And it said, if I'm going to make it out the eye of this storm, I got to return back to a familiar environment. And for me, that familiar environment was incarceration.
What?
Yep. I was going to have to go back to prison if I was going to make it out of this.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Wait a minute. So you made a conscious decision to go back to jail?
That's what was spoken to me in that still small voice. That day, I didn't go back to prison.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But you knew, like, there was something that told you, okay, I'm going to go back. And I'm ready. I'm ready to go back.
I just didn't have the courage to go say, hey, Mr. Officer, I got a quarter ounce of crystal meth with me, and I got a pistol in this pocket. Can you take me back to jail? No. It happened when God designed it. But that was what we call the spiritual experience, right?
Okay.
And I'm going to show you how it comes back around to show me and confirm what I experienced was true. So when I got arrested June 10, 2015, right? 4 days later, I got moved. I got moved from downtown out to RCCC. When they moved me out there to RCCC, they housed me, right? They give me all processing. They can house me anywhere because I'm not a Blood or a Crip. I'm not gang affiliated. I'm from the Bay Area. So it don't matter where you put me at. You can put me on the roof. You know what I'm saying? Right? So they process me in woo. So boom, they take us to where, they're going to house different people at, right? So they take me in the dorm that they housing me at, right? And when I walk in this dorm, I'm like deja vu, right? I'm like
you've been here.
I'm like, man, I've been in this dorm, right? Then it hit me. I look at a specific bunk. I said, man, I slept in that bunk right there in 2010 as a result of a DUI leaving the flame.
Wow. Keep your butt out the flame. So with that, like, so when you're doing that, right? When you're reflecting and you're going through this, what would you right now, being the person you are, what would you tell another young brother right now?
Okay, hold that. This is how I know. There's in God's world, there's no coincidence. There's no accidents, right?
Right. No.
There's a scripture. There's a scripture in Proverbs 26:11. As a dog returns to his own vomit, so a fool repeats his own folly.
Yes.
So I had returned back to see my vomit. God put my nose in it. 5 years previously, I was in this same dorm as a result of my drinking for a DUI and parole violation. Confirmation to God's word. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So I knew it wasn't no coincidence when I had that moment of clarity sitting inside the flame. You see what I'm saying? But again, going back to the type of alcoholic that I am, I had to be shut up somewhere, right? I had to be locked up somewhere. That way I couldn't run from me. I've been running from me all my life.
Now you got to sit.
Now I got to sit still and look in that mirror and face me. You know what I'm saying? And face the ugly truths about me. See, I've been telling myself all them pretty lies, right? Nobody manipulated me worse than I manipulated myself. See what I'm saying? See, what the 12 steps do, the 12 steps take you from a victim to victim to finding out that you was actually a volunteer. See, in the 12 steps, you can't be a victim and a volunteer. Right?
That's the whole word.
So I was the creator of my chaos.
Your chaos. So how many men do you think create their own chaos? So when I look around and I look at brothers, I have a son right now. My son is in prison. You know what I'm saying? Because he keep doing the same thing.
Insanity.
And I'm having the same conversation with him. You know, he's like, Mom, I don't want to do this no more. Like, I can't believe I'm back here. I can't believe I'm doing this. Like, he's having this moment of clarity. It's like talking to you is like talking to him. Because he's telling me these same things. I don't want to do this no more.
But here's the thing with that, right? Because I've been down that road, right? See, this is Trish, my sis Trish McNeil that stay around the corner, right? She said, bro, she asked me a question like when I was first out, because I told her, I was like, man, it's different. It's different this time. You know what I'm saying? And she was like, man, what's the difference between now and all the other times, right? This right here. I didn't talk about it when I was incarcerated. I just walked the walk. So in other words, I didn't write letters home telling my people what I was going to do, how I was going to change, this, that, and the other, right? Because what you do when you do that, you give people expectations. You give people expectations. And now, okay, I done gave them a list of all these things that I said I'm going to do, right? But who's to say that it's going to go in that order? Because God, the steps of a righteous man are ordered by the Lord, right? So who's to say that it's going to go in that specific order, right? But people hold you to what you say.
Right.
And so now I done built this stage because I done made these promises of what I was going to do, right? And so now when I ain't fulfilling what I say I'm going to do, then your loved ones get to say, hey, Marcus, I thought you said you was going. I thought you said you was going. I thought you were going to say you was going. You know what I'm saying? So then, now, guess what? I was only selling BS
but now
out the gate. Hold on a second. I was only selling BS out the gate, right? So now, because I don't got nothing in play, so now what's the mentality that I take? The ethics.
Okay.
So when I take the ethics, what am I going to do? I'm going to do what I know to do. So I'm going to run back to the streets. I'm going to run back to the grind. I'm going to run back to the game. And now I'm throwing rocks back at the penitentiary again. Or into the cemetery, one of the two, whichever come first. You know what I'm saying? Because when I was incarcerated, I didn't put nothing in play. See, there's a question that you can ask your son. In there, what are you doing different?
Right.
What are you doing different that's going to implement change out here, right? Because we can sit up in there and say, yeah, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this different, this. But if you're not moving, because we creatures of habits, and the only way you change your habits is by implementing new habits. But that's got to come over a process to do away with your old habits.
Right. So a person like you, so can somebody like you, do you go back and you like maybe mentor young men in there? Or now, how does that work for you?
Well, now, by the grace of God and the blessing, come April, I'm going back inside a Soledad State Prison, and this is my 3rd year now. I go on a conference. It's a weekend conference that I go to down there, and I go back inside. And for me, I'm sitting with my people. Only thing different is that my clothes look different from their clothes. Right. But other than that, they still look at me as their brother because they feel the authentication that I bring in there. You know, it's just I've been blessed to take the program from inside, outside, and bring it back inside.
So have you ever thought about doing something outside for the young brothers outside that you may see, you know, the young knuckleheads you see on the streets or the young cats that like, oh, hey, Marcus, what's up? Do you ever maybe take time to try to talk to them and try to change their life or the way they're going?
Most definitely. You know, I don't got to seek it out. God brings them to me because I understand my assignment. God let me go through everything that I went through in the 30 years that I was out there in the streets, that I was out there on the blacktop, near-death experiences in and out of the penitentiaries for 20 years. You know, when I stepped out of state prison next Tuesday, February 10th, 2017, it'll make 8 years that I've been home. And when I stepped out of there, that was my 19th state correctional facility that I've served time in over a course of 20 years.
Wow, so that's like you go to prison once a year.
So can't nobody tell me that change can't happen.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
I see it in you. So I heard about like where you come from. Like we've talked about where you come from, and I've seen the change, and that's why I was like, we got to talk to him because you have so much knowledge. And you have so much life, and you've done so much, and you've overcome so much that I just feel like, honestly, I feel like women, more than men, need to hear your story.
Man, you know, women, that's a whole nother book. That's a whole nother chapter. And
but we're raising sons.
Reason why that is, no, I'm talking about as far as like with me, right? Mm-hmm. And dealing with this emotional incarceration, right? I experienced sexual trauma. I experienced being sexually molested, right?
See, and most men don't. That's right there. That's like what I'm talking about right there. Most men do not talk about that. You're on Facebook Live. We finna do YouTube, and this is something you're talking about. But men don't talk about that. That's like they hold that in, and I think that's why a lot of men have anger issues.
It's a demon.
They don't talk about it.
It's a demon. Like, and I know from experience, right? Because I used to have a victim mentality. And with that victim mentality, that's why I stayed drunk, right? So with that victim mentality, I abused others. And now, so let's clarify this. I didn't repeat what was done to me, to kids, right? But I abused men and women mentally, emotionally, right? Because I used the tragedies of my life to pull them in, right? And I would drain them. I would drain the life out of them, you know what I'm saying? Because I would transform and I would become who I am. See, I would paint a picture of this person here.
Yeah, this is who I am for you right now.
But it was with a hidden agenda and ulterior motives. See, I'm not afraid to talk about me. I'm not afraid to talk about who I am, who I was, and who I am. You know what I'm saying? Because I wouldn't change anything anything about my life, because if I did, I wouldn't be who I am today.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
You feel me? And people who live in glass houses shouldn't throw stones. You feel me?
And there's so much trauma in men. Men have so much trauma that they don't talk about and they don't express it. And I'm glad that you are a man that's willing to talk and express it. You know what I'm saying? Like, maybe somebody hearing your story, they won't be afraid. Maybe somebody will reach out to you here. Maybe another brother, hey, bro, this is what I'm going through.
My stripes is another man's healing. And I'm a firm believer, if you build the boy, it's less repair you got to do to the man.
Ooh.
You know what I'm saying? So, you know, being emotionally, so when that happened, me being sexually molested, right, by the babysitter's son, emotionally I stopped developing. So you figure from the age of 6, 7 years old, from there all the way to 42 years old, I'm emotionally ill-equipped to deal with life. I can't deal with life emotionally because I don't know how to process these feelings, let alone what I got inside of me, because I don't understand why he did this to me, how he did this to me, what made him do this to me. Am I gay? Am I straight? All these unanswered questions, right? So let's go deeper now. Let's go in deeper, right? So I got all these unanswered questions that's swirling in my head by the time I get 12 years old, right? And I don't know how to shut them off, right?
And you don't know how to absorb them. You don't know
I don't know how to deal with them. Yeah. All I know is that person that I see in the mirror, I hate him. I hate them because that person draw that person to do what they did to me.
But do you feel like you could have hated them because that person that you seen couldn't protect you? Because now you can protect the person that you see. When you look in that mirror now, you could probably, now who I am now, I could have protected. But do you feel like you were so vulnerable, you were unprotected?
Yeah, I was unprotected. You know what I mean? My innocence was taken.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? And so that's how predators work. You know what I mean? And so now, right? So by the time I hit 12, right? I have my first experience. I leave church, right? I leave church and I sneak to this girl house. And hey, growing up, I was PK. I was known as PK because I was really involved in church. I grew up very active in church. That's why the Bible is so woven into me, because Proverbs, Proverbs 22:6, train up a child in the way that he should go, and when he's old, he shall not veer far from the path. So my mom trained me by being in church, not just a church goer, but I was a church member. That means I was involved. I was in the youth usher board. I was in the youth choir. I was chaplain in the youth department. I was president in the youth department. See, a lot of people forgot about that person. A lot of people forgot about that person when I got 18 because I turned into the prodigal son. You want to know about the prodigal son? Go read about him in Luke 11th chapter, verses 15 through 32. You know what I'm saying? Or Luke 15, verses 11 through 32, the prodigal son. Go read about that and you'll read about me, right? So when I became 18, I went off into the world, right? I went off into the world and I got lost. You know what I'm saying?
All these emotional things going on. You were already stagnated.
You see what I'm saying?
And so now the street, you know how they say the streets grab you.
Man.
The streets grab
you. Feel me?
Yeah.
Looking for love in all the wrong places, right? But going back to that 12-year-old, so when I experienced this experience with the opposite sex, right? It was in the experience, these questions that was going off in my head that wouldn't shut up, they went quiet. They went quiet. And I was like,
this is it.
Sex, no voices. The voices was the questions. Sex, no questions. But then questions come back,
Mm.
I gotta have some more
It's like to
sex.
stop it. So it's a vicious cycle.
You feel me? So
Circling,
now,
circling.
so guess what comes? A sexual addiction.
So you went from just basically addicted, sex, alcohol, money, street strife, just
Addicted personality
addicted.
disorder.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Anything that gives me a good feeling, I have to be conscious because I don't see the steps give me discipline,
Okay.
right? So without that, I'm undisciplined. I don't know what moderation looks like. You know what I'm saying? I'm all or nothing. You feel me? So the steps gives me the discipline to have balance, to know what moderation looks like, right? So, you know, it was the steps that allowed me to look back into my life and see how that sexual addiction came about. And the cold part about it is I didn't even like sex because I felt dirty from the experience when I was molested.
That you just wanted to shut the voices off in your head.
That's all it was about, right?
You just needed to shut
So
those voices.
in the matter now, guess what? Now in my teenage years, I'm hurting girls. I'm hurting
You said
girls.
that. Now that's what I want to get into because you was like you self-sabotage your relationship with women because what you went through as a child.
Yeah.
So let's go and get into that.
So I'm hurting girls because I'm only out to quiet this off.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So I don't care what I got to do to get it, how I'm gonna get it. You know what I'm saying? I just got to get it. Period. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna tell you whatever it is that I need to tell you to be able to get what I want. You know what I'm saying?
And women are emotional. So here you come, Marcus the man, looking all fly, and you telling me what I need to hear, but yet
I'm emotionally not available.
You're not available to me.
I'm emotionally.
Women,
I'm
give
emotionally.
our bodies because
it was so deep with me, right? That I literally could cry in front of people, and there was no emotion with them tears. It was all a ploy. It was all a ploy.
So like a master manipulator. You was a master manipulator.
That was survival skills. That was survival. That's the learned behavior. Okay. See, I cultivated it through my junior high school years, so that when I became an adult, these is now my survival skills. So now I'm perpetuating this as an adult. You know what I'm saying? I become the bone collector, right? Because I'm collecting bodies. I'm collecting bodies because I'm now pulling people in to a war that they have no idea about. It's an internal war within me. See, I've been a POW all my life, a prisoner of war. And I ain't never even been to Vietnam, Iraq, Iran, none of that. But I've been a prisoner of war of my own war, the internal war within me, conflicted. Right. And so now I pull people in to this war and they become casualties of war.
And then it creates a whole other cycle.
They become collateral damage.
Create a whole other cycle because now the woman is bitter because of something you did that she didn't even know you really set out to do it.
I'm bleeding on people that didn't even cut me. Because I'm projecting onto them based off my past. It got nothing to do with them.
They're making it like they feel like it's their flaws, but it's really you.
It's me.
It ain't got nothing to do with them.
No.
Yeah. As women, we're emotional creatures. We're easily attached. So now you didn't hurt this woman and this woman and this woman, and now this woman, she don't know how to adjust her feelings for the next man. So now she's carrying baggage. So this man got to make up for what you did. And this man don't even know you.
It's deep.
That's wild.
The perpetuation of it, one of the best things I did 4 years ago was when I decided after the relationship that I was in and I removed myself out of the relationship was to stay single. To stay single and take time for me. And because I know I needed more healing. I needed more healing, and I needed to build that relationship with myself, right?
And I think a lot of people don't do that enough. A lot of people, when they break up, they jump from relationship to relationship
because it's a distraction. It's a distraction. See, it was easy for me to make that decision because I did it in prison. I did it when I was in prison, and that's huge. To be incarcerated, you try to hold on to everybody you can outside because that's your visual outside of the walls.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because you in that confine. So you try to hold on to everybody that you can. But this last time when I went in from the holding tank, I was like, go on with your life. Like, don't wait for me.
You didn't try to make her hold, because that's the thing is, you're going to hold me down. Or you're going to hold me down. Look, you know, brothers is quick. You're going to hold me down.
I was so burnt out. I was so burnt out and beat down. I remember when I was a youngster and I used to be locked up or whatnot, and I used to see the OGs coming in and they be turfed out, whooped, right? And I used to laugh at them, right? Because I was a youngster, you know what I'm saying? But now it was like that saying, it ain't no fun when the rabbit got the gun.
Oh my God!
So now what I laughed at, I became, right? I became that OG that was burnt out, turfed out, toe down, toe up. You know what I'm saying? Busted up. You feel me? So when I came in this last time, I was like, man, I'm done. Like, I don't need no woman in my life. I don't need that distraction because it's like this. If I got a female on the outside, or let's say a few different females, right? Because now it's like, who gonna run the best, right? So now I gotta serve these lies out. I gotta send these lies out because I don't know who gonna stay and who gonna run, right? So that's work right there. That's distraction, right? So it's like this. If I got all these going on, right? How much do I have left to focus on me? Because I'm worried about answering phone calls, letters, packages, where she at, who she with, all these different things, right? So my attention is 3/4 out over here and 1/4.
But hold on. With that being said, though, with the woman, because like I said, I dated my baby daddy was in prison or juvie when we were young. And it's also the woman, though. The woman is, I got to be here to answer this call. I got to pick up. I got to send this. I got to make the money. I got to go to the visit. So it works both ways on that end. You know what I'm saying? It's not just you in there struggling on your own and she out here 9 times out of 10 living her best life.
Most definitely.
It's both. She's in prison with you. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because I know I was
17. Your loved ones do time with you.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Because they develop a mindset, right? And they want to they try to put themselves as much as they can in there with you.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? And so they literally put their life on hold out here. You know what I'm saying? Trying to be in there with you. You know what I'm saying? And what the realization that hit me was like, a visit can only go so far. A letter can only go so far. A package can only go so far. A phone call can only go so far. But God can go all the way.
All the way.
And so that's what I latched on to. I latched on to it with God and just was like, God. And I didn't know how much time I was going to get or any of that. But whatever amount of time that was coming down the pipe was going to be the exact amount of time for God, what God needed to do what he needed to do in my life. And that's what I roll with. You know what I'm saying?
Whew. What time? I know we can talk.
Man, 7:51.
It is 7:51. So I know we closing out. There's so much more though that we need to get into. So I just want to ask you a couple of questions, okay? Going from where you were, and where you are now, how much more growth do you think you have?
A whole lot. a whole lot. You can't put a lid on it.
That's right.
Because like I said, I didn't start back growing until 42 years old. So you figure I got locked up at 42. 2 months, 5 days later, I turned 43. You know what I'm saying? I'm barely into this game. You know, I don't know how much years that I have left, but I can tell you this: the past 9.5 years, from 20 months of incarceration and being out here 8 years. Next week it'll be 8 years, right? These have been the best years of my whole adult life.
So it's like you're like a baby, and you know how people say you're a baby in Christ. So this is your life. This is the first day of the rest of your life is when you step out.
You know, when they say high off life, literally, you got to experience that to know what that feel like, high on life. But knowing where I came from, the darkness, like them grim, dark days, being suicidal, being in a hotel room. I sent my sister Angie, the one that's married to D-Shot, New Year's Eve coming in 2015, I was in a motel room over there on Watt. I sent my sister pictures with a loaded gun in my mouth. You know what I'm saying?
So that's trauma on her though, because now she mentally jacked up because this is always
her baby
embedded
brother.
in her. Yeah, this is embedded in her now.
Yeah. This is her baby brother. You feel me? And
so you was taking everybody with you.
Man, I was, like I
emotionally.
Said, the darkest that it went to, I don't ever want to experience that again. I don't ever want to experience that again. Ain't nothing that I go through in this life that a drink will make better. Because I know where that drink gonna take me. I'm gonna put it to you like this. I'm so bad when I drink that if I drink again, I won't even get the luxury of a penitentiary. I'm a die in the gutter. Somebody gonna kill me. Straight up. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's why people love me so much and I'm so embraced, because people literally watched as I deteriorated and destroyed myself and hit my rock bottom. And then to see me go away, disappear, because I went to prison, and then come back and like, this what path I'm on now.
I know Greg told me about you a long time. He always speaks so highly of you, even before I met you. You know what I'm saying? He always spoke highly of you, and he's like, nah, you don't understand. Like, because I was like, well, why you know, every time I see him, he out. And he always he's like, there ain't no liquor in there. And I'm like, what? Even when we was at the bar, he would be like, Marcus, I seen Marcus with a drink. And he was like, no, you didn't. He was like, Marcus don't drink. And I'm like, not even like one drink? Like, if we come over here, you don't have a drink with us? He was like, mm-mm. And he was like, I wouldn't even ask him.
Look, so I was just at Craft and Cork wine bar down in Fair Sassoon last weekend, right? And they got this sing-along thing. So I was down there, right? And I was talking to the owner. I was like, you know, can I get some cranberry juice? And she went and looked, and she didn't have. She's like, man. I said, look, I go across the street and go buy a bottle. You know what I'm saying? And she was like, you would? I was like, yeah. I'll go buy a bottle and just put it in the refrigerator. She was like, man. She was like, I'm going to keep you in mind to keep that cranberry on hand. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I went across the street and grabbed an Ocean Spray cranberry bottle, and I'm drinking cranberry juice. It looked like wine. You know what I mean?
Well,
but
I thought you had,
it cranberry juice.
And that's why when I was like, oh, what do I give Marcus? Because, you know, we normally drink wine. He was like, he likes strawberry lemonade. I was like, okay, let me go.
Trust me.
Get that.
If the type of alcoholic that I am, I can't hide it. If I drink, it's like Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. I am finna transform, and Lord only knows what's getting ready to go down when I drink. Okay. You know what I'm saying? So it's that's why I don't worry about what people saying for, oh, he was out, this, that, and the other. no, if you really know my story about me and drinking,
you know it ain't happening.
You know it ain't happening because I can't get up and live like this and go have a drink and then live like I can't do it.
Right.
It's not. It's just not in me. You know what I'm saying?
So now my last question before we go. Okay. So as a woman, any women here, if somebody wanted to reach out and actually talk to you personally, privately, I know everybody doesn't like to do things via social media, but if they wanted to reach out to you, how could they find you?
Man, my social media.
So
my social media is Marcus Christopher Atwood, my government. People be like, man, your social media name is long. I said, you don't understand why I did that though. I said, because for a long time, I lived up under a false identity. I lived up under a nickname, Lucky. See, Lucky was my alter ego, right? And I gave my alter ego an identity. We're going to close with this. I'm going to show y'all how subliminal messages be in movies and we don't even catch it, right? So, you remember the movie Nutty Professor?
I do.
Okay, boom. So you got Buddy Love
you got
Sherman Klump, right? Mm-hmm. So Sherman Klump, what was wrong with Sherman Klump, right? He was uncomfortable in his skin, right? He didn't think that he was enough, right? He had an addiction. What was his addiction?
His addiction was food.
Eating, right? He ate for comfort, right? Boom, right? So he going through the same things like you do before being an alcoholic, being a drug addict, right? Mm-hmm. The same insecurities, inadequacies, right? So boom. So now he creates this potion, right? He creates this potion because he want to change himself, right? He don't feel that he's appealing to women
right.
or whatnot,
right? Right.
So boom. So now he makes this potion and poof, out pops Buddy Love, right?
The cool, good-looking dude, got everybody, make everybody happy, make everybody laugh. He's who everybody wants.
Here's the catch, though. Buddy Love is Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, because if you really watching Buddy Love, so all the good qualities that Sherman Klump was, loving, compassionate, kind, tolerant, soft-spoken, all these things, right? Buddy Love was the opposite. He was obnoxious, arrogant, egotistical, self-absorbed, rude. He was all the other things, right? Guess what?
He wanted this. He wanted to be.
So guess what? That potion that he created, that was alcohol.
That's your alcohol.
That's alcohol. That's what happens with me. I transformed into Buddy Love. So literally, it wasn't Buddy Love, it was Lucky.
Yeah, you said it was like you was lucky.
Yes. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And so I lived under that mask for so many years. My oldest daughter's mom, to this day, even though I'm not in the streets like that, I don't use that nickname Lucky, you know what I'm saying? Still call me Lucky because it's embedded, because that's what I went by for so many years. You see what I'm saying? So now I'm proud to say Marcus Christopher Atwood because I love me. I'm comfortable with me. I accept me, good, bad, or indifferent. I accept me, flaws and all. You know what I'm saying? And I just, I'm going to tell you like this. I mess up more sober than I did drinking.
Okay, so, Lord, okay, this is amazing. We got to do this again for real. Again, they can reach you on Instagram at Marcus Christopher Atwood.
On my Instagram, Marcus Christopher Atwood. And ladies.
Tell the ladies something. Let's talk to the ladies.
If you in a relationship, situationship, whatever you want to call it, right? Please offer a man, because y'all really don't realize how hard it is in society on a man, let alone a black man, right? Please offer that man a space.
Safe space.
A safe space where that he can be both a lion and a lamb. Just like the man offered the woman a safe space so that she is not 24/7 in her masculinity and she can feel safe and secure to be in her femininity.
So basically, ladies, offer your man that space where he can cry to you, where he can tell you he's emotional, where he's not being judged. You got to give him that hug. You know what I'm saying? Not a physical hug, but he's got to be able to come to you and say, I messed up, or I'm feeling like this, or I've done this, or he's got to be okay to
feel safe and secure where he can be transparent with you, where he can get naked with you without taking his clothes off. You know what I'm saying?
You gotta say, I thought I was the only person that say that. I thought I was the only person that say that. You gotta get naked without taking your clothes off. Man. And there's a difference, you know, you want transparency. Like, women are always like, I want my man to be honest. No, I want my man to be transparent. There's a difference between honesty and transparency. Mm-hmm. And if your man can't be transparent with you, then he's definitely going to go somewhere. Somebody else is going to provide him with that. Yeah. And you want the emotional part of your man. You definitely want the emotional part.
Man, that emotional freedom is huge. It's huge.
Especially because the world is already beating his ass. You know what I'm saying? Man. The world is beating him down already. So for him to come home and get beat down is wild.
Yeah.
That's wild.
So, you know, that's the best advice I can give, you know, and if you got young boys in the house, because I started crying last night. Because when I got the revelation through a reel that came in my Instagram and somebody pointed out that I, in fact, had this book that brought me back to recollection of this book, I had the revelation that, you know, I've done good with my son. I've done good with him, but I've also fallen short with my son. I've fallen short with my son in the aspects of that safe space to be able to express his emotions. Because growing up, a young boy has a lot of different emotions, a lot of different feelings, you know, going through life and asserting himself and finding who he is, you know what I mean? And I don't think that I afforded my son that safe space, you know. And maybe this is why God separated us, so that I can do further work on that, so that as the bridge narrows and gets closer, and me and my son draw back together, I can offer him that safe space. You know, like I said, I don't do a perfect walk, not by a long shot, but the biggest thing that's in my favor is accountability. Accountability. And if you ever look at my posts, all my posts, when I start my comment, will say #accountability101, because for me, that's where you grow. Right. Self-accountability. If you don't have no self-accountability, you ain't growing and you lying to yourself. Straight up. Just like a person can read all the books in the world, but if you don't got no application, there ain't no transformation. Right. You know what I'm saying? Information without application, no transformation. Period. You just lying to yourself. I did that for many years. Right? It wasn't until I put some application down that my life started changing. You know what I'm saying? So change your thinking, change your reality.
Mindset. Yeah, change your mindset.
Mindsets are contagious. You know what I'm saying?
All right, y'all. I know we went over, y'all. My bad. So, look, check it out. If you guys want to talk to Marcus personally, reach out to him via Instagram. I'll also post his Instagram. I want to thank you guys for joining us. Speedy recovery. You know, you'll be back with us next week. And thank you, Marcus.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. You know,
Thank
like
you
I
for always
said,
talking to me. Thank you for just, I didn't even have to say much because I knew. I was like, once he started talking, he started talking. So I'm like, I'm gonna let him have it. I'm gonna let him do his thing, get that information out there, and just really, y'all really listen. If you have to run this back, come back and listen to it again. It's gonna be on our YouTube Friday. We'll have it put up. But yeah, just re-listen to this and listen to his words, y'all, and just really take accountability and give your man, give our men, not your boyfriend or whatever, just men in general, black men in general, give them a safe space.